is 5:30. I'm gonna go ahead and give us our go. I'll keep an eye out if there are others that join us. If you guys don't know me yet, my name is Hannah. I'm a program specialist with the Girl Scouts of Louisiana, Pines to the Gulf. With me tonight, I have our fabulous intern, whose name is also Hannah. And then I think Miss Kara is connecting as well. If you haven't yet, if you'll make sure that you put your name into the chat box so that I can know who we have here with us. I'm so excited that you joined us. I'm so happy to be here with you today and to see some awesome Girl Scout faces. We know that you guys miss us as much as we miss you. And we are super excited to be sharing this animal encounter with you today through Barnhill Preserve, right? Barnhill Preserve?
Yep.
Yes, awesome. Okay,
Yes.
So then if we have questions, we're gonna make sure that we keep our mics muted just to make sure that everybody can hear. And I'll keep an eye if you wanna put your question in the chat so that when it comes time for that, we don't forget your questions, okay? So if you think of a question and you don't wanna forget it, make sure you put it in the chat box. Okay, and then I'm gonna pass it over to our representative. Oh, that was my dog, I'm sorry. From Barnhill Preserve. Let's make sure that we have our microphones muted so that we don't have any feedback, okay? So if you'll double check, make sure that you're muted and we're good to go.
Alrighty. Hi girls, I'm super happy to be Zooming with y'all today. My name is Marissa. I am Barnhill Preserve's brand manager. I handle all kind of social media for them, and I do visits like this. And I am really, really excited to bring some of my animal ambassador friends with me today. Before I show you some of our animal ambassadors that we have, I'd like to just talk a little bit about what Barnhill is. So we are a zoological facility in Ethel, Louisiana. One of our most popular things that we do is we actually have a mobile education program where we bring some of our animal ambassadors to schools so that they can teach kids about animals all over the Gulf South. So I've been with this company for about a year, and that's kind of what I started doing. I would bring some of our animal ambassadors to Texas. I went to Florida, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, all around the Gulf South. And I educated all kind of kids just like yourself about some really, really cool animals. So I want to bring out my first animal ambassador that I have for y'all. I don't know if y'all can all see. I'm gonna take a second to kind of show them up, but this is Godzilla. Godzilla is a blue-tongued skink. Blue-tongued skinks are native to Australia. And they're really, really cool animals. So just like his name suggests, he does have a blue tongue. He uses this blue tongue to kind of protect himself from predators that might want to eat him. So his tongue actually is really unique because he actually tricks predators into thinking that he is poisonous when he is not. So he kind of tricks predators into leaving him alone. So they won't eat him because they think he's poisonous. But in fact, he's completely harmless. Now I'm going to kind of show you his little arms and legs. His arms and legs kind of don't really help him walk high up like an alligator would. He kind of like scoots along and kind of just moves his body and scoots on the floor. But the really cool thing about his little arms and legs here, he actually can fold in his arms and legs kind of to get into some really, really tight spaces. So he can actually get into pretty tight little spaces and scoot his little body in there. Now you might see he has some holes on the sides of his head. Those are his ears. I get questions like that all the time. What those little holes are, those are just his ears. Some of the things that he likes to eat, he loves bugs, and he also loves to eat veggies. So we call animals that eat both veggies and meat, we call them omnivores. So he is in fact omnivorous. Now he looks pretty big. This is about as big as he's gonna get, but they can get quite large. Now he is a reptile. So reptiles do have scales. And the really, really cool thing about him is he actually will shed his scales. Just like snakes shed their skin, he also sheds his scales, but a little bit different than snakes. He will actually shed his scales in parts. So he won't shed them all at once, just like a snake will. He will kind of shed in parts. And he does this to show that he's still growing. Do y'all have any questions about Godzilla? You can type in the chat. I'll feel free to answer them. No. Okay. He's about 2 years old, so we've had him for a long time. And this is about as big as he'll get. Yeah, so that is Godzilla. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out our next animal ambassador. This next one's one of my personal favorites at our preserve. Make sure everybody can see this. So this is Panini. Panini is a Brazilian three-banded armadillo. Now we have all kind of different armadillo species in the world. There are about 21 different armadillo species around the world, but he is found in South America. And the really cool thing about him, he can actually roll up, as you're seeing now, into a ball. So this is the only species of armadillo that can actually roll up into a full ball. So his head is up here and his tail is right here, and they'll roll up and curl into a ball when they're really scared. Now he's actually not scared. He's pretty social with us, but I think he kind of wants to take a nap. Let's see if he'll come out. Come on, Panini. He said he's going to stay in his ball right now. But they are mammals, and they are found in South America on the forest floor. Thank you. We had a naming contest, and all of our armadillos are actually P names. So we have a Puffles, we had a Pickles, a Pongo, Panini, Priscilla. I actually picked his name. I was really, really happy that we went with that. Where does he sleep? That's a really good question. So they're what is called as terrestrial animals. All that means is that they sleep on the forest floor. They're not very good at climbing, so they live on the forest, and they'll actually dig little nests and they'll sleep in that. Now, a really cool thing, so you see this shell. This is where he gets his name, the three-banded armadillo, because he has 3 bands up here. 1, 2, 3. And this shell, y'all, is really, really hard. It's made of a substance called keratin. I don't know if y'all know, but that's the same thing that's made of our fingernails and our hair. And it's really, really strong. And it protects his soft, soft belly down here. Now, armadillos have very long nails. He uses his nails to dig on the forest floor, and he'll lick up bugs with his long, sticky tongue. They are what is called as insectivorous. All that means is they like to eat bugs. So that is the main source of their diet. Now, a really sad but interesting thing about these armadillos, they're one of the most endangered in armadillo species. And that is because their biggest threat in the wild is actually cars. So as roads are getting more developed in the rainforest, these little guys are really curious and they'll actually get in the way of cars. So that's kind of a big problem for them right now. But facilities like ours and zoos that have programs that help with population, that is how these little guys are actually making a little bit of a comeback. So that's really good. Do y'all have any questions about these armadillos? Like I said, these are one of my favorites to talk about, so I could talk about them all day long. Let's see if I can show you his little head. Panini, come out. Another really cool thing, you can see his tongue. His tongue is really long, and he'll lick up ants with it. It's really cute when they drink water. Another really cool thing about this, we have to be very careful when we handle him. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't put my hands anywhere near here really. Like I said, he can curl into a ball, and he can actually curl and in on our fingers. So we have to be very careful when we hold him, because if he closes in on our fingers, it's up to him if he wants to let us go. Alrighty, guys. So that was Panini. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring him back. Do y'all have any questions? Oh, that's a really good question. How many babies do they have? They have one baby at a time. Yeah, and the really cool thing is they're very, very small when they are babies. They're about the size of a golf ball. Any more questions about Panini? All righty. So this next animal, I'm going to try really, really hard to get her to be shown. She is kind of wiggly, but this is Maisie. Let's see if she can slither up to the camera. Say hi, Maisie. So Maisie is a corn snake, and corn snakes are found in the southeastern part of the United States. So we do have them here in Louisiana. And they're really, really cool snakes. You can kind of see her really pretty pattern. These snakes can come in all kind of different colors. I actually have a corn snake at home. His name is Toast, and he is bright orange. Now, you notice I said I have him as a pet. This is actually one of the animals that I will say makes a pretty good pet. They're really good starter snakes for pets. They have really, really good temperament. They're really, really calm. You can see she's just kind of curious. She's checking y'all out. Oh, did I freeze? Am I good? Okay. Yeah, let's see. She's kind of moving all along. Now you notice, I'm trying to get her close up. You can see her tongue kind of just like flicking in and out. She is trying to actually taste the air, and that helps her look for her food. So she is a carnivore. That means she eats only meat. So she eats other animals, and she'll eat mice, and she'll also eat small lizards and frogs. But we feed her mice here. She seems to really like mice. She's like all over the place. That's a really good question. They are not venomous. They are actually harmless. And a really cool thing is snakes are actually really, really good for the environment. Does she bite? She can bite. Anything with a mouth can bite. Normally, the only time she will ever try to bite is if she is hunting her food or if she's feeling scared. So if she's feeling scared, you'll see her kind of tense up and she'll try to defend herself with a bite. But like I said before, they're completely harmless. Where do the babies hatch? When do their babies hatch? That is a really good question. In the springtime, and she does lay eggs. Now, one of my favorite things to talk about is snakes, because some people are really scared of snakes, but snakes are actually really good for the environment. They actually, like I said, they eat rats and mice, and rats and mice can actually spread diseases that make us sick. So they are actually our little exterminators. So they help us from not getting sick. So she doesn't have any babies right now. They can lay a clutch of 6 to 7 eggs, usually. It really just depends. But she doesn't have any babies. And she's about full grown. So she's only about 3.5 feet. They can get upwards of 4 to 6 feet. So they can get really long. But we're thinking this is about as big as she's gonna get. And remember, just like the snake, the skink, she is a reptile. So she does shed her skin. This is to show that she's still growing. But remember, like I said, with the skink, she actually will shed her skin all at once, all at one time. So it'll be one big long skin. The skink will actually take a couple of weeks to shed completely. What color are her eyes? That's a really good question. They're like a kind of, I can't show you, but she's kind of has like a honey brown eyes. Kind of like caramelly, like her. How often do they shed their skin? That is a really good question. It really depends on as they're growing. So when they first start out, they'll shed their skin about once a month. As they get older, it'll take a couple of months for them to shed. And that just means that they're growing slower than when they were younger, just like we do. So remember, we grow pretty fast at one point, and then we reach a point where we kind of just stop growing, just like they do. Y'all have some really good questions. Y'all have any more about Maisie? Okay, I have 2 more animals to share with you. And I think you'll really like the next 2. All right, this is another one I'm gonna take some time. She's kind of a squirmy little thing, so we'll see if we can make her stay still. But this is Sky. Anyone think they know what she might be? Any guesses? Oh, here she goes. She's turning herself around. So she's not an ocelot. That's a good guess. A ring-tailed lemur, another good guess. She's not a lemur, although she kind of looks like one. She is actually a bare-tailed woolly possum. So they come from Central and South America. They live high up in the trees. They're what is called as arboreal. All that means is they live in the trees. Now, you can see she's kind of resting on my shoulder. That's what she would do. She'd be resting on me like a tree trunk. She is actually a marsupial. So, you know, some other marsupials like kangaroos, they have babies in pouches. So do these little guys. So she'll have about 4 babies at a time in her little pouch. She's one of my favorites too. Now you see her little tail here is actually curling onto my finger. That is how she holds onto tree branches. Her tail helps her grab onto things. That is called a prehensile tail. All that means is she can hold on to things with it. So she uses this as an extra grip to hold on to tree branches. She's not related to kangaroos. That's a good question. But she is similar in the fact that she is a marsupial, so they do have babies in pouches. Now I'm trying to zoom in closer so you can see her eyes and her ears. She has big eyes and big ears. She is a nocturnal animal. All nocturnal means is that they sleep during the day and they are up at night. So she has really, really big eyes that help her see in the dark. And she has really, really big ears that help her hear really, really well. I know, she's so cute. Another really cool thing about her is she actually will eat with her hands. So her hands kind of, I don't know if you can see, she's kind of on my shoulder. Her hands are kind of spread out like this. That helps her kind of walk, but also she will grab her food. She eats lots of fruit. She'll also get a pelleted diet. She has 5, just like us. Yeah, her hands kind of look like this when they're all spread out. But she'll actually take things like fruit and she'll hold them in her little hands like we do, and she'll bring them right to her mouth and eat them. Yeah, so she's another omnivore. She eats fruit, but she'll also eat insects. Yeah. Now, another cool thing about them is they're what is called a solitary, meaning they like to be by themselves. So I don't know if you've heard of possums here playing possum or playing dead. They actually won't do that. They won't play dead when they're scared. They will try to fight back and bite, but their favorite thing to do whenever they are scared is they will actually hide. So we actually keep her in a pouch. Oh, I think y'all are frozen. Can y'all see me? Oh, here we go. Cool. Yeah, so we actually keep her in a little pouch to make her nice and comfortable. Do y'all have any questions about Skye? Ask me your questions. Let's see if I can get her to. She also has kind of a long little tongue, like the armadillo. Let me see if I can get her to do her little party trick. Just back up real quick. Oh, sorry. Get this out the way. So a really cool thing. So she doesn't have any babies, but she can have about 4 babies at a time. All right, let's see, Skye. So a really cool thing, her tail, like I said, is really, really strong. If she were to fall off a tree branch, she could just crawl up her tail like a rope. So her tail also helps her in case she were to fall down. Yeah, it's really, really strong. She's called a bare-tailed possum because she doesn't have any hair on her tail. That also helps her grip onto tree branches. Is she allergic to anything? Not that I know of. That's a good question. You can see she's licking her little tongue out. She is a cutie. Y'all have any other questions, guys? Alrighty. I'm going to bring her back. I'm going to take out my last and most special animal. So I was told this is also one of your mascots. So Sky is about 2.5 years old. All righty, guys. See if I can get a good look. This is Kaya. Kaya is a baby two-toed sloth. So she's not quite the same species as your mascot. She is a two-toed sloth, but they do come from the same regions. So she comes from South America and Central America. So sloths are mammals, and they are another arboreal animal. Do y'all remember what that means? Yeah, so that means that they live in trees. So actually, when they'd be living in trees, they'd actually be hanging upside down for most of their lives. So they have very, very strong arms and very, very sharp, strong claws that help them grip onto tree branches. I'll show her face real up and close. Hi, Kaya. So sloths hardly ever come down from the trees, y'all. The only time they come down is to use the bathroom. And they're very different than us. So they only go to the bathroom about once every 7 to 14 days. What are you looking at? So they come all the way down from the trees to use the bathroom on the ground, and then they'll climb all the way back up. Now you see her looking around. Sloths are really cool because they are very, very flexible. So she can move in all kind of different ways. Her spine is very, very flexible. So you'll see her making all kind of different movements. Those are really good questions. So they are slow. They move a little bit faster than people think. You can see she's kind of moving around. They are slow because they need to conserve their energy. The food that they eat does not really give them a whole lot of energy. So they do need to conserve it to when they need it most. How many babies can she have? So a sloth mama will only usually have about one baby at a time. Now, like I said, they can move quicker than most people realize. And sloths actually can be pretty dangerous. So they do have really, really sharp teeth. And their teeth can actually form a pretty nasty bite. Now, when a sloth feels threatened, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll try and lunge and try to actually attack. So they can be really, really dangerous. So she's only about 6 months old, so she's still a baby. Now, when she gets older, she'll get to be about 30 pounds. So she'll be a pretty big girl. Now, they can live pretty long too. Under human care, they can live up to 30, even more than 30 years. Now, you see her hair? I'm gonna try and show y'all. So her hair in the back actually comes up in tufts. So that's actually, there is a reason for that. So sloths, like I said, remember they hang upside down from the trees. So when it rains, when their hair is standing up, the water will actually slide right off their back. Now, another cool thing about sloths is in the wild, they have a really cool camouflage. They'll actually grow algae on their back, and a lot of times sloths will appear green in the forest. So it's kind of gross, but kind of cool. So that's their main form of camouflage. That's how they disguise themselves in the trees so things won't try to eat them. Do y'all have any questions about sloths? What are their predators? That's a really good question. Their main predator is a huge bird. It is called a harpy eagle owl. Yeah, so that's really cool. how big can they grow? They can grow about, she'll get to be about 25 to 30 pounds. What do they eat? That is a really good question. In the wild, sloths will eat just about anything, mostly plants, but they can also eat all kind of different things. They've even been known to eat dirt. We have a sloth who actually, at our preserve, who likes to eat wasps. Her name is Lily. At our preserve, we feed them lots of different veggies. So they get lots of sweet potatoes, zucchini, squash. Do they like cuddles? That is a really good question. So as cute and cuddly as they are, sloths do not like to be touched by people. So when we hold them, you see, we hold them on a pillow. I'm not even touching her because she doesn't really like it. Yeah, so unfortunately, sloths don't really like to have cuddles. How many babies can they have? A female sloth will have one baby at a time. These are really good questions, guys. Another really cool thing about sloths is they are actually really good swimmers. Yeah, so a lot of times if they're trying to relocate from a tree, they will actually drop into the water and swim to where they need to go. Do they like veggies? They do. Ours seem to really, really like sweet potatoes, zucchini, and squash. We've even given them some carrots. They like eggplant. They like all kind of different veggies. Why is she so cute? She is very cute and cuddly looking. She's looking at y'all. Alrighty, girls, y'all have any other questions? Are sloths colorblind? That is a really good question, and I don't really know the answer to that. Their eyes, however, do look kind of odd looking. They have very, very tiny pupils, which is an indication that they see really well in the dark. Now, I don't know about color blindness. That's something I'll have to look up. That is a really good question. Y'all have any more questions, guys? Alrighty, girls. Well, that is the last animal that I have for y'all. I know that she was your mascot, so that's really awesome.
Girlies, if we'll unmute and tell Miss Marissa thank you for being with us tonight. We're super excited to have had her here with us. Yeah, this was great. So if you want to unmute and tell her thank you and tell our new sloth friend goodbye for the night, then you guys can go ahead and hop off.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is she allergic to something?
Oh,
Not that I know of.
Thank you.
Welcome, girls.